The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the 15th day of December, 2021. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindo's. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Sherry Vanderpool, and Leanna Lambert will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Sherry, you're getting too many days off from me. How have you been doing without us?
It was a sad day yesterday, but because I missed you, Jamal.
Yeah,
but I loved my sleep in. Oh my goodness, I loved it. Did you get to sleep in? Because I did. It was everything.
I don't have those privileges. My apologies. My body just doesn't allow it for some reason.
That's what happens with grumpy people. They don't get enough sleep.
On that note, good morning, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. Another good one today as we welcome Dennis Carter and Donte Hunt. They're stopping by from the BDC to discuss the Eat, Shop, and Play initiative. We've got more Christmas trivia for you-know-who over there. And folks, this is an easy one. Seriously, if she doesn't get this, just all hope is lost. All hope is lost.
Can I have positive, Shara's gonna get this, and it's just gonna be wonderful. All hope is lost, Jamal. Seriously, grumpy Uncle Grinch. It's Christmas.
I gave you positive in the beginning of that statement by saying she's gonna get this. This is easy.
Follow it through.
Yeah, but it's hard when you're talking about grumpy this, grumpy that. But anyway, folks, we did miss a day. And we have a very important conversation that needs to be had today. A very important conversation that needs to be had today. And I haven't asked you to do this in a while. But what I'm going to need for you to do is share the YouTube link, retweet it, share your Facebook, whatever you do on Facebook, share it. Yeah, whatever. And for those listening on the radio, share the station with somebody because we're about to go somewhere today. And where we're about to go is there was an incident that people over the last 3 days have been talking about in Bermuda. And that incident involved a young student, male, white student, looked like that student was assaulting a young female student, black female student. And all we can do is draw, our conclusions from what we see, right? Whether it was the Rodney King video, which was, a few seconds that we all, drew our conclusions from. There's the George Floyd one last year. And, that's our evidence. That's what we have to go off of. And what we saw, I think we would collectively say was not okay. What we saw, we probably would collectively say was disgusting, right? But then there's another part of the conversation, and this is your question for the morning right here. Do schools have a responsibility to discipline children for acts committed outside of its premises? Because apparently both of these students attend the same school, and there's been a lot of conversation in the community that this student should be, expelled, suspended, banned for doing this to a fellow student, even though it happened outside of the school. Now, for me, if I work at a certain place, if I'm employed by someone and I commit an act that, you know, damages the reputation of that company, there may be a chance that I could be let go. So that's the question. Do schools have a responsibility to discipline children for acts committed outside of its premises? And we're focusing on that video, that brutal video of the young boy basically choking, throwing to the ground the young girl, and then kicking the back of her, to which her head went against the dresser. What are your thoughts on that, Sherry?
Absolutely. I think you said a key point in the sense of they both attend the same school. So
Mm-hmm,
that for me is the most important part.
mm-hmm,
If they are attending the same school, they're going to be in the same space. Hence, all the other energy that's coming around with it with the rest of the students.
mm-hmm,
Um, and you're right in regards to workplaces as well, right?
mm-hmm.
I really thought about this. I was like, I'm here in this capacity, but when I go off here, I could be doing something else. And if it does affect the brand,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, we saw that with the lady that was in the park and the gentleman and the dog and everything else. That wasn't at work, and
What
she got
what
fired.
what dog?
Um, they were in the park. He was asking her something about the dog or whatever, and she was like, "I'm going to call the police."
We're talking about in New York City.
In New York City, yes.
I was thinking, what situation at Victoria Park?
Sorry.
That case was the latest dog had run off, and he started to try to feed it little, and she said, "Don't feed my dog anything." That case right
Yeah. But she that wasn't at work or anything to do with work, and she, at the end got fired. So if this particular situation, like you said, I have so many questions, where were the parents?
there. Hmm.
What in context was that?
Hmm.
Boys roughhouse all the time and those kind of things. We did see a snippet of it. We don't know what happened before or what happened after, but it does, of course, look very brutal, and
Hmm.
it's very disturbing in that sense. We don't even know what happened afterwards. I did see something where I'm going to say allegedly is claiming self-defense.
Hmm.
I don't know if, that is definitely true in regards to the story that he's indicating that occurred.
Hmm.
So I do think children should be disciplined for things that happen outside of school. Back in our day, when you got into a fight at the bus terminal, yeah, it was our bus terminal. If you're in your school uniform and that happened,
Hmm.
you can get suspended, expelled, or whatever, depending on the nature of it.
Hmm.
So, yeah, definitely.
Well, Sherry says yes, the school has that responsibility. What do you think, audience? Do schools have a responsibility to discipline children for acts committed outside of its premises? Karen Simmons, who I believe is an educator, she said this type
Yes.
of situation is not new, and schools need to keep the safety and integrity of all its students at the core. Richard Augustus says, I know I'm not answering the question, but to me it looks staged. Another juicy smoke thing. 15 minutes of stupid fame.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, I'll say this much. If it was staged, it was some ridiculously violent acting. And yeah, I don't know if they're acting or auditioning to be stunt people, but that was some ridiculously violent acting. At least with Juicy Smollett, you didn't see what actually happened. You just saw the most unbelievable scenes that after the fact, with a noose and some little baby cuddle in his face. But no, I take your point.
Hmm.
To ask yourself, who recorded this? Why'd they record it? Shika Reyna, she says, I went to work academy back then. If it was reported that one student did something disrespectful on a bus, the entire school got detention. 400 students in assembly hall from 3:30 to 5 p.m. So those are some, man, they
Yeah.
really did suffer for the guilty back then, huh?
Well, that wouldn't happen today.
Man, I mean, gee. But what are your thoughts, folks? What are your thoughts? Do schools have a responsibility to discipline children for acts committed outside of the premises? Now, to Shara's point about the situation with the lady. That company, the lady in New York who basically was calling the cops on the black man who was, basically trying to play with her dog. I think the company, what happened in that case and what tends to happen is kind of what happened in this case. People go straight to social media. And that company didn't want the heat that came with, oh, this person works at this company. This is what they do. Let's, get on their employer because she put a black man in harm's way. And this is traditionally how black men have lost their lives and this and that. That, so we have to ask ourselves, did this company do it because it was consciously the best thing to do, or did this company do it to protect themselves, right?
Wow.
It doesn't matter why they did it, just simply the fact that this person was reprimanded for what actually took place. Michelle White says, yes, Work Academy takes acts seriously. Well, it looks like from the statement, it said that the student won't be in the school as right now as the investigation takes place. And some people were unhappy with that. Some people think, oh, nothing will happen. He'll either be back in school or he'll be shipped overseas and whatnot. I mean, I guess for today's conversation, that's neither here nor there. I just wonder, because a lot of people were saying this is not the responsibility of the school. This did not happen at the school. So really trying to figure out if something happens, because school is literally supposed to be preparing us, right, for, per se, the real world, I guess. And this would be a real life scenario that if you do something that puts your colleagues, in harm's way and the reputation of a company, pretty sure your employment will likely be terminated.
Yeah. I mean, and I thought about this last night and I was like, and like I said, thinking about myself, after 5 o'clock, we tend to do whatever it is that we want. But at the same token, if I was to do something damaging as a social worker, you know what I mean? I can understand why the company would take the stance of what it is. At the end of the day, the business has to do what is in the best interest for them. And in this stand, Work Academy does as well. And I'll be honest, sometimes private schools have a reputation of not addressing things. And that's probably...
Is that true, though? Because I've seen that said, but is it that they're not addressing things or they're addressing them in a manner that's different from what's the norm?
It's a little bit of that, Jamal, difference from the norm, but sometimes there's some serious situations that kind of get swept or not handled as, I don't want to use the word harshly, but with a lot of intensity. I honestly think, and I'll just be honest with it, you be honest all the time. I think because it went to social media. Had it not gone to social media, we would hear nothing about this. We would hear nothing. And would it be addressed in the same manner is the question.
No, I don't disagree with you. I think social media has definitely changed the game in terms of people, rushing to social media to share things. If this was not on social media, it wouldn't be a conversation, and likely, I'm not saying it would have gotten swept under the rug, but it probably wouldn't be an issue to the point that there's a police investigation going on that the public knows about. Sam Clay says, yes, especially as they go to the same school. I tell my son all the time to watch his conduct in and out of school. I wouldn't expect a student to return as a Work Academy alum. And as Sheikah said, yeah, we all suffered. And if one did something embarrassing, the uniform or school. Graham Smith says, the school statement implies that the girl is not a student at Work Academy, as she is not mentioned. So, again, I read the statement. He could be right. We maybe jumped into that conclusion. What we do know is that at least one student, it seems like the perpetrator looks like he was a member of the school. And so the question remains, should he be punished for an act that was committed outside of the school grounds? Outside of school hours as well. Sheikah Reyna says maybe it's not that schools have a responsibility to discipline the offender. Maybe it's that schools have a responsibility to protect others.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And if a student is expressing anger and violence in that manner, I'm pretty sure many parents would feel safer. Yeah. Ebony Souza says if both students attend, yes. If they are in uniform, yes. School grounds, yes. But at what point do students learn not everything is handled in-house? This is a matter for a higher authority. So I think to her point, maybe you leave this to the police, right?
Yeah.
And just like the lady in New York City with the dog, that's a situation where, why did her company have to get involved? Because they felt their reputation was, being messed up. They could have left that as a matter to the police or the law. Like if he wanted to sue her for that, they could have left it to that. So I appreciate that perspective, Ebony Souza. Appreciate it.
I still piggyback on I think it was Richard Augustus that that is an element of it as well, because this was posted, I believe, on somebody's Snapchat. So we understand that the culture right now for this generation is likes and whatever else that they got going on. And it'll be interesting to see if this was put there for whatever and whose snap it was on or whatever. You know what Snapchat is, right, Jamal? Because I mean, I'm a little.
I don't know how to use it, but yeah.
Right. Okay. Because, I'm a little bit older, so I just wanted to make sure you knew what was going on with that.
Get back. Elmore Warren says there are questions on context, premeditated hateful intent. Is that a crime? Is this the kind of student you want at the school? The kick to the head is brutal. And I agree with Elmore. Like, folks, let's be honest. If you saw that video, it was brutal. It was violent. It was violent. And I see it's a tough one. And this is why the question is necessary. This is why the question is extremely necessary. And the question's simple. Do schools have a responsibility to discipline their students for things committed outside of the school? However, I agree that this should be left probably, if it's a violent offense, if it's a criminal offense, then the police handle it. But as a school, if you see someone that wears your uniform acting in a certain manner like this, do you feel the safety of the other pupils in your student population are safe? I'm not quite sure. There's got to be something in the rules about this.
And we also don't know, if there's been a history of anything as well. So there's a lot of different elements that, of course, I'm sure that the school, and I would hope that they would take into consideration to go ahead and make this statement. If this was out of this young man's character, that's one thing. But we also don't know if there was a history with him, the young lady, if she did attend. We don't know if they got with the other school or wherever the young lady goes to school. Like there's a whole lot of, like I said, there's questions. There's a lot of questions.
Shika Rana, Sherry.
In the Michigan school shooter case, the school officials met with the parents to communicate that their child needed therapy. It was ignored, and we know what happened later that day.
Yeah. Sharon Simmons, I'll read it on the side. It is a long one. She says, schools are not the police. The same way one feels their personal business outside of school is none of the school's business, it is still not the school's responsibility in one's personal life outside of school. Only if the incident happens while in school uniform and easily recognizable should the school be involved as it reflects the school. In that particular incident, it looked like a private residence and police should be involved. Thank you for that, Renee Charlene Simmons. See, another perspective. I get that everyone's jumping on and saying, yes, the school needs to protect its students and so on. But I take your point. I take that. And again, I appreciate the conversation. Michelle White, Sherry?
Actions outside the school does impact how other students see or perceive leadership. Interesting as well.
Samcat Place says there are some students who posted a TikTok, and as a result, they are not prefects at their school now. This happened outside of school, so that is another take on discipline. Again, that's why I enjoy doing this show with you all, because there's no right answers. There's conversation so that we can get to a better place and space, so that we don't even have to have these kinds of conversations. If we, teach the young people, hey, this is not wrong because it got caught on camera, It's wrong.
Right.
Should not be doing this to other people.
Yeah.
None of us is perfect. I mean, man, I'm glad social media wasn't around when I was a child. Let's be honest. We and act like we are. We were responsible children. We may have thrown rocks at people. We may have done things that like lizard fighting and stuff that's not acceptable now. We may have called people names that are not appropriate now. Like there's a lot of different things that we probably done in our childhood that if there were cameras, we'd probably be shamed to this day. Right. So I think we need to, as adults, we really need to look at this and say, you know what? Let's use this as a teachable moment for other young people in our lives. Let's use this as a teachable moment. Let's get our young people to understand, folks, it's not wrong because it was trending on social media. It's wrong because of point A, point B, point C. Elmore, Warren, Sherry.
Not everything in the rule book, but doing the right thing is key.
He's right. He's right. Not everything's going to be in the rule book.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Like, there may not be a rule for this, like saying that if something happens on such school. But sometimes we have to go by what our conscience, let our conscience guide us in making the correct decisions. Michelle White says, but the media mentioned the school, so that's makes it school's business. They didn't mention the other school. Why? And then Shika Reyna she says, actions outside of school typically lead to actions in school. So school officials don't have a choice but to be involved when notified. Look, again, this is a teachable moment, but it's also a moment or something that didn't have to happen to be for young people to know better and do better. It's definitely one. Go ahead, Sharon.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I agree with you. Thank goodness social media wasn't around when I was around. Jeez, because I don't know if I probably would have been suspended, expelled, fired, all types of things. But I'm just saying, I'm a better person now.
So you're not gonna just watch some of the stuff that you did?
Nah. Mama Patterson's probably watching, and I try to, keep a low profile in that sense.
Yeah.
But it is. But I also did know that there was a consequence. My mom always said, don't let me hear about your bleep on the streets, right? So that also played in my mind in regards to what it is that I did and what I could get away with. But it's those kind of things that you have to think about as well. We had neighborhood people watching us back then, before social media.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Back then, it was, your neighbors would tell your parents and so on. And now it's like your friends will tell them because your friends want to get the video up on social media. Adeline Stevenson Swan says, at the end of the day, I would like to know that the case was handled fairly. And yes, I feel bud because I was watching the Daily Hour from YouTube. Welcome to YouTube, Adeline, and thank you everyone who has made that transition from Facebook to YouTube. You can, if you don't know how to do it, you can go on our website, thedailyhour.com, and just hit the live, watch us live from there, and it'll take you to YouTube, and you will be on there. Make sure you hit the notifications and subscribe button. Let's bring Leanna in. Now, I think Leanna actually attended Work Academy, so she might have a better understanding of the culture. Me thinks she probably did one of those detentions, not because of her. Let me be clear. I'm not throwing Lee under, but
okay.
It was her generation. Now, come on now.
You're working on that Christmas present, I swear.
Well, her and her Christmas tree, Coco. I still don't see my present on the Coco yet. So that's the name, right? Coco?
Candy Cane, Cece.
I just remembered Cece.
Close enough. Good morning, guys. How are we this morning?
Great.
Talk to me. You've been you went to Work Academy, and I'm not putting you on the spot to answer if you've seen this kind of behavior, but more or less, we've had a lot. Strangely enough, a lot of people who watch this show went to Work Academy at some point. Some maybe 50 years ago, some maybe 15 years ago. But that said, do you feel that the school has a responsibility to act on things that students do outside of school hours? And was this something that happened during your day?
Yeah, so I mean, having gone Work Academy, I know many people have had different experiences, like you said, from years ago to the times that I was in. And I've been out of Work Academy for almost, 12, years now, so that gives some context to age, right?
Mhm.
But no, just to answer your question, I do I do believe that some of the onus should be taken upon the school,
Mhm.
even though it was not it wasn't, or any of the acts were committed on school premises, or whether they were in school uniform or not. These, like you said earlier, it's a representation of your pupils. You still represent the school regardless on whether you're in school uniform or not. So I do feel as if, at the end of the day, that the school should, and like I will report in my newscast, that they do speak out to say, okay, this is how we're combating this sort of activities or any type of incidents that occur, whether on school premises or not. I
Mm.
think that I could sum it up that way. They should take
Mm.
some sort of responsibility because, like you guys said, when we step outside that door, when we're not in our homes, we're still a representation of something, whether it be company, school,
Correct.
affiliations with any type of anything that we get involved in. So
Correct.
that's the hat that we wear, regardless. So
Yeah.
Well, that's this. It's an interesting one, you guys. It's an interesting one. Um, yeah. I just look at it from a perspective of job.
Yeah.
If you're out doing something that your job feels puts the company at risk, chances are they're gonna want to cut ties. So,
yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, what excuse are you gonna say? Well, I wasn't at the job when it happened, but you,
But you
you
had on
know,
your uniform and you're doing it.
exactly, exactly.
Lee, over to you, sister.
Thanks, Jamal and Sherry, and happy hump day to all of those who are tuned in with us this morning. I hope you all are having a great start to this cloudy morning. I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for the Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. In today's top stories, health officials last night revealed that at least 16 of the 35 active coronavirus cases on the island are of the Omicron variant. Now, this means that 2 additional cases of the new variant have been recorded. A total of 12 positive cases were among the nearly 3,000 test results, which are all being monitored by the health department. None are in hospital. Health officials said that 11 of the new cases had come from overseas. 8 of the remaining 9 cases were classified as on island transmissions, and one was listed as under investigation. Health Minister Kim Wilson has warned that the virus thrives on human contact and said that with the holidays approaching, she said we must continue to follow public health guidance. A spokesperson for the Ministry of Health said officials were not considering a clampdown in the run up to the festive season at this time. In other news, changes to the new travel regulations came into effect on Sunday. Now, the changes are said to ease travel to the island. Just as a reminder, the 3 changes apply to all immunized travelers to Bermuda, and they are as follows. 1, all visitors to the island aged 12 and up must be fully vaccinated. Now, children under the age of 11 or younger may travel to Bermuda either unaccompanied or accompanied by a vaccinated parent or guardian. 2, any resident flying off island for 3 days or less can use their pre-departure test obtained in Bermuda as an arrival test upon return. And finally, travelers who require an expedited test result on arrival at the airport can pay an additional $100 fee when applying for the Bermuda travel authorization. Meanwhile, police have confirmed that an official complaint has been made in regards to the viral video that we have been discussing this morning that showed students from Work Academy involved in a violent altercation. Now, according to a police spokesman, the video has elicited considerable comments from the community, some of which is concerning. Now, they say there is also now being circulated a screenshot of a statement supposedly written by one of the minors involved, which appears to be having the same impact. Now, police have urged the public not to, quote, let their emotions get the better of them and commit any acts that could result in prosecution, end quote. David Horan, the principal at the school, said that in an email to parents that the video was recorded at a home by one Work Academy pupil, featuring another Work Academy pupil and one from another school, and made it clear that the school does not condone violence and will follow all advice given to them by the Bermuda Police Service. Now, he also added that counseling services have been put in place to provide support where needed. And to end the cast on a positive note, Balco announced recently that 15 Bermudians were successful in their applications to join their apprenticeship program. Now, the 4-year program offers the opportunity to train in a structured way towards a successful and rewarding career. Balco President Wayne Kane said that he is thrilled to welcome the new cohort of apprentices to the Balco family, and Balco has invested in the future through the apprenticeship program for more than 30 years, with many of our first-class Bermudian employees having come through the program. Now, out of the 200 applicants, they have chosen, he said, the best 15 young Bermudians who can look forward to an engaging, challenging, and exciting career by joining the team who are building a sustainable energy future for Bermuda. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 71 and a low near 62 degrees. We will see cloudy and wet morning spells to start the day. However, conditions will then dry but remain cool and windy into the night before a ridge of high pressure moves into our north to usher brighter skies and easing winds for the remainder of the week. That's all for our Daily Hour news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Now let's head back to Jamal and Sherry in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
All righty. Thanks so much for that, Lee. And I just want to once again give a shout out to, we're not trying to make people feel guilty, but you all are showing up and we appreciate you. I speak on behalf of all of us, for all of you jumping over to YouTube. We have Facebook. We really do. We're not saying not to use Facebook. If that's where you're comfortable, stick with us. But thank you. You all are showing up, and we can't thank you enough. That's where we would love to have you all, but we understand not everyone's comfortable there. But YouTube, The Daily Hour, check us out there. It's the easiest way to watch us, and you can go on our website, thedailyhour.com. Leanna, thank you for that, and we will see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, guys.
No day off. Lee was ready to be on yesterday. She didn't know.
I was so ready.
We have to run, but we have some great guests lined up coming up. Thanks so much, Lee, with Donte Hunt and Dennis Carter. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with our guests for the day.
Hi, I'm Karen, a nurse at the old folks home. These long hours used to kill my feet until my hairdresser told me about a great place to buy a pair of clogs. Medical House. Finally, relief. They also carry uniforms in bright, bold colors. And not to mention the support stockings.
Karen, Miss Soltis bet her bet again.
Oh gosh, these days I need all the support I can get.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke.
John Barrett & Son, Bermuda's foremost distributor of fine beverages, is bringing on the joyful festivities this winter with Barrett Stone Ginger Beer. We have extolled the virtues of this traditional Bermudian drink before. It's refreshing and spicy and wonderful in the kitchen. Google cooking with ginger beer and you'll be amazed by the diversity and wow factor of the recipes. As our good friend Bruce Barrett says, bubbly, tasty, full of spice, refreshing and exciting. When it hits your taste buds, mate, full flavor is igniting. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Welcome back to the big show. Sherry Vanderpool, I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and our friends over at People's Pharmacy. Without further ado, let's bring our guests for the day. We have Dennis Carter and Donte Hunt from the BBC. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. How are you?
Morning. Thanks for
Good
having us.
morning. I mean, they look like they should have been on that list, Jamal.
What list?
What list is that? Come on, tell me, Jerry.
Most handsome gentleman in Bermuda for 2022.
Yes.
Sherry,
Sherry, I knew I liked Sherry.
Yeah, no, I'm making no nominations for that list, so I'll leave that to Sherry. But, gentlemen, thank you for doing this. First time of you both coming on, but obviously we are friends of the BEDC, so nice to have some different faces on. We're here to talk about the Eat, Shop, and Play initiative, but before we even get into that, just going off track, just tell the audience a bit about what both of you do at the BEDC.
Yeah. Okay. So my name is Donte Hunt. I'm a part of the micro, small, and medium enterprise team at the BEDC. So what we do, basically, we are the front line for those who are thinking about a business, those who have that sort of business idea in their mind, and they want to make it happen. Whether it's a new entrepreneur or a seasoned entrepreneur trying to scale up. Well, we are there to provide business advice, to provide financial products, because many businesses need some capital at the beginning, in the middle, in the end. I shouldn't say in the end, but they need money. And so we're able to facilitate that in some capacity.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And Dennis, you same role, similar?
Yeah, we do have the same role. As well as we also, I'm the officer for St. George's Economic Empowerment Zone, and then Donte is the officer for Northeast Hamilton. And then we also have Andrea as well, who's not here, but she's the officer for the Somerset Economic Empowerment Zone.
Okay, cool. Now tell us, eat, shop, and play. Now, I love to eat. I'm not going to say I love to shop, but I definitely like a little play. So talk to us about the initiative. What's it about?
Jamal, let me just step back, because we're talking about Economic Empowerment Zone, right? EEZ. And so your listeners might not know what that is, right? So give me like at least 45 seconds. I'm going to tell you what the EEZs are all about. I'm going to read it because it does it more justice.
Well, put it this way. You just beat me, because that was my follow-up question.
What it is. I'm going to read it. It's a designated geographic area where special programs are implemented in order to relieve hardship or economic disadvantage, or to assist disadvantaged persons to achieve equal opportunity. And EEZ is achieved through developing and implementing a system of policies to close the gaps of inequity that exist in certain designated geographical areas in comparison to others. The work that takes place in an EEZ is focused on striking a balance between the economic environment, economic equality, the social environment, access to services, the physical environment, high quality design, and the spiritual environment, good quality of life. So that's an EEZ. And we can talk about that and expound on it, but hopefully that gives.
I'm gonna tell you live on it. Just rock with me. Rock with me. Let's go in let's go in order. We'll get to all of that, but just rock with me now. Right? Because it's all sequence. So just rock with me.
DJ Rodney Gray.
Yeah. So but I want to ask you, you did give a lot of details. I want you to break it down. Why is it necessary? Because there's been a lot of, I understand it. I do understand why EE zones are necessary. You just explained in detail. But why is it necessary to, the most layman, people who may not get it? Like, you've heard the arguments. Well, what if a business is in Devonshire on Middle Road, and they may need assistance as well? Like, speak to us about how this is, why it's necessary, and how it can help even those that may not be in one of these zones.
Yeah, so I mean, we got to step back to in history. We're looking at large areas of which we can tackle at one time. It is a disadvantage for those who are struggling, who are not within these zones. However, we've got to look at where we can start first, and we're starting in zones that historically have been disadvantaged. They don't have the foot traffic. They didn't have a lot of the policies, or at least to take advantage of a lot of the policies in the past. And so what the government has done is, look, let's give these areas, which historically, and even if you look at the data, you look at the household income, you look at the foot traffic, you look at a lot of these sort of trigger data points that says, if we're going to start somewhere, we need to start here. At the BEDC, we do offer support to everyone. and we would give our all to everyone. But it's these areas that I think need the special attention. And I think everyone would agree you have to start somewhere. So we start at these three areas, which is Northeast Hamilton, St. George's, and Somerset.
And what is the Eat Shop and Play is obviously an initiative to kind of promote these zones, right? How did it come about? Why was a promotion like this necessary this time of year to kind of get people to support these even more?
Yeah, so I'll dive in on that. So yeah, so we so this was actually originally started in St. George's. We had a cruise ship in that sort of, how can we get those customers from the ship into the stores in an exciting and engaging way? And now it's sort of stemmed from that to across all three zones, because we did see a lot of benefit and a lot of take up from the incentive for people that were going into the stores. And now we've run it across all three zones. This is our third year, our third Christmas. And it's only gotten bigger and better every year for getting people into the stores.
Nice.
Awesome. So what does that Eat, Shop, and Play initiative look like actually? Like, what do we, because, out here in the States, you have places of, what is it, live, eat, and play, and all of that. So let's break it down of what it actually looks like to people.
Yeah. I would take Dennis. So basically it's spending $20. If you spend $20 or more in participating stores, and when I say participating stores, it's retail stores, it's restaurants, you name it. If you're going to go somewhere to buy something in the EEZ, typically it's going to be a participating store. So if you spend $20 or more, you're eligible to win $500, $300, or $200 in vouchers. And those vouchers you're able to redeem at any one of the stores in any one of the three EEZs. Right? So in fact, we are actually paying you to shop. So if you win, you get dollars.
I like that. And when does the initiative run? Because I like the shopping part. I like all three. I like all three. And if I like all three, when does this initiative run so people can participate in?
So it runs right up until January 2nd. So even for you, I think you're overseas, but you're still able to shop online and you'll still be able to enter as well. So it runs right up until January 2nd. And then the draws on January 4th.
Yes, Dennis.
Real quickly, you saying that, is there an online component, or do people have to go into store locations? Because I guess the idea is getting people into the zone so that they shop at more than one place. But if someone wanted to shop at multiple places online, is that still an opportunity to participate?
Exactly. So if they're in the zone, a lot of people, they're not shopping as much as they were pre-COVID. And it sort of gives people that might not be, fully safe enough to go into stores and walk around. It gives them the opportunity as well. So if the store is within the economic empowerment zone, for sure. And they can also just go right onto our website. We have a tab on bdc.bm. And you're able to upload your receipt and your information right there.
All right, I got some questions in the audience. This is an interesting one here. Rashida Godwin says, in reference to the zones, what about those of us that aren't able to be in the zones and we have to run our business from our homes because we can't afford to pay rent for a business space? It's leaving some of us out.
Yes. I mean, so we have to go back to the EEZs and why they were created. They were created to get economic activity happening in those areas and to create that equality. And that was, and that is based on brick and mortar, and that's the nature of the thing. But for those of you who are in cyberspace, who are doing e-commerce, there is support for you, but you're not in an EEZ, and unfortunately, you won't get things like, for instance, in the EEZs, there is a payroll tax relief incentive that is for 2 years. So the employer doesn't have to pay payroll tax for the employer's portion, which relieves that company for a bit. However, there is a payroll tax relief for companies or businesses outside the EEZ, and that's just for a year. I shouldn't say just for a year; it's for a year, right? So you get a year of not paying a payroll tax for the employer's portion. But we got to go back to the ethos and the whole idea of creating EEZs. It's to create equality that was not there in certain areas in Bermuda.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. And it makes perfect sense to me why these zones were necessary. Speak to us really about the Court Street market that's happening on December 19th.
Yeah, the Court Street market. December 19th, we got a market happening down in Court Street. It's a partnership, and I'm really proud about this partnership because it's a partnership between the BDC, who's sponsoring the event, as well as the Court Street market. And get this committee. They've established a committee. I want to say it started about loosely about a year ago, and they came to the BDC for some guidance, much like any other business would have. To say, how do we do this? And so we gave them some guidance, and we continually do so because we are quite versed in markets. But what I'm so proud of is that the committee has taken a hold of this thing. It's a grassroots movement. Those businesses in the community are putting this thing together. Why? To create foot traffic, to create a buzz, to say, hey, guess what? Court Street or Northeast Hamilton, Court Street, is alive and kicking. We've had so December 19th, Sunday, guys, go out, please. Not only is Eat Shop Play a part of this, and you can win 500, 300, and 200, but also the Court Street Market has its own giveaway. So if you spend $25 or more, you can win something like a PlayStation 5, which I would love to have because it's like $1,500 and I love playing games. Anyway, a big team, all sorts of cool stuff. I'm telling you, it's really amazing. But here's the kicker, and I might talk too much, so you can cut me off when you want, Jamal. But the kicker is this is not the first and only market. This is one of a series that have been happening throughout the year. I want to say it's like the sixth one. What's so great about that is that this committee is creating a sustainable economic infusion in the community. So we're looking forward to 2022, continuing our partnership and sponsorship of the event, and helping this event to be, synonymous. And if not, can I say this? I'm going to say it. If not better than Street. Look, 40 vendors, right? In any one market. That's a lot. We've seen, and I'm guesstimating, we're guesstimating, we've seen like over between 12 and 5, over 1,000 people come out. So, and there's so many vendors who are trying to get in. So guys, please. Go.
Let's get out there. And we also have St. George's Shop and Stroll in the Summers Garden. Speak to us about that a bit.
Yeah, so we do have the Shop and Stroll happening in St. George's. So that'll be as well on December 19th. That'll be between 12 to 4. So pretty much the whole of St. George's is opened up. All the stores, all the restaurants, everybody's working together. And very similar to what Donte said is the businesses in St. George's came together to create this event. The Shop and Stroll, which is alongside of the Eat Shop Play. And very similar. So if you spend over $15, then you'll be entered into a draw to win prizes that the stores have actually put together for you to win, as well as the Burmese Christmas in the Summers Garden. That's also open in the evening time. So it's a great day out. I love St. George's. I'm biased, but it looks great right now. All the lights are up. So Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening, great time to be in St. George's.
I hope your bias extends to 2 days of the year in July, August as well.
Dennis, I love St. George's.
That's the only time that it isn't.
No worries.
I don't love them those 2 days. But yeah, that sounds great. You guys, all of these initiatives sounds great. And it's something about markets for me. I don't know why. Like, it's just something about them, and it makes you want to spend some money on just different
Sound like
things.
she has a shopping problem, but we'll leave that alone. Gents, we gotta get out of here though. Where can people get some more information from?
BDC.bm. Go to BDC.bm. There's we have a new website. It's very, very user friendly. You'll find what you're looking for. But go there, look up Eat Shop Play. You can look up the all the various EEZ economic empowerment zones and what's going on there. One thing I just want to say is that also, we mentioned Eat Shop Play. Those who shop get potentially 500, 300, or $200, and so that's across 3 zones. So that's 9 potential winners. So, but there's also 9 potential business winners, and that's the kicker, right? Because we want to give back to the businesses as well. So if wherever someone wins, if they win at this place, then that place gets an equal amount of cash.
All right. Hey, our audience loves winning prizes, especially cash. So, folks, get out there, support. Dennis Carter, Donte Hunt, thank you both. And thank you to the BEDC for continuing to do the work that you do to make sure that our businesses have a chance.
Awesome.
Jamal, Sherry,
Thanks for having us.
No problem. Enjoy the holidays. See you soon.
You too. Cheers.
Thanks again to those gentlemen. If you appreciated that conversation, you know what to do. Give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share these kinds of conversations as well. Good information from both Donte and Dennis. We're going to take a quick break, going to go to the movement moment, and then we'll have our commercial break. We'll come back, wrap it up, and Sherry's going to do well. There's my positivity, folks.
Welcome to this movement moment brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Together, we can illuminate your path to wellness.
Welcome to today's Movement Moment with Tamara Donnell, brought to you by Peoples. Tamara, what are we discussing today?
Good morning. It has been a while since we've been discussing anything. This month, the month of October, we move on in our horoscope of power to cover honor, the power of legacy. Considering our horoscope of power is about designing a life and making choices that support living a better life, hopefully even your best life. Many people might be wondering, where does honor come into a discussion on health and wellness? But most times when we think of honor, we would tend to think about some fundamentalist religious person, imposing their views on the masses. But when you look up the definition of honor, especially the verb honor, it's to fulfill an obligation or to keep an agreement. And in my opinion, that has everything to do with our plan for designing a better or your best life.
Thank you for tuning into this movement moment. To enjoy the benefits of the full episode, check us at Instagram at MVMT with Tamara Donnell or at People's BDA.
Hi, Bermuda. As the festive season is upon us, I'm back again to remind you to shop local. Local retailers are filling their shelves with gifts and goodies for all of our holiday needs. And to make shopping even more exciting, you can play our holiday scratch and win at participating retailers. There's great prizes to be won, so shop local and have some fun. Scratch the card, and if you see 3 matching center bags, turn that card over and scratch to see what you have won. Have fun, Bermuda, and remember to shop locally this holiday season.
Eat, shop, and play in the EZs this holiday season for your chance to win a $500 cash voucher to your favorite small business in the BEDC Economic Empowerment Zones, Somerset, Northeast Hamilton, and St. George's.
All you have to do is spend $20 or more in any participating business, restaurant, or store. Simply scan the QR code on our flyers in store or visit bedc.bm to submit your receipt and contact information. Now until New Year's Eve.
Shop local, shop Bermuda, and support a small business this Christmas. For more information, please visit www.bedc.bm.
All right, welcome welcome back to the Big Show. Thanks again to Donte Hunt and Dennis Carter and from the BDC. That's the Eat, Shop, and Play in the EE zones. Don't forget, thanks again to One Communications, People's Pharmacy Medicals, and Linda's. Don't forget, if you enjoyed the conversation, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Sherry?
Yes, Jamel.
I guess she knows what I'm going to ask, folks. Here we go. Sherry, it's a Christmas trivia question. Audience, please feel free to help her. Don't forget, folks, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe right at the bottom. Hit subscribe and the notifications button so that you get alerts when we go live. Here's the question for Sherry, folks. Well, for all of you. What carol contains the words, quote, fa la 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 la, end quote?
That's not Jingle Bells, is it? I can't remember. That's not it. Fa la 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 la. Deck the halls.
Woo! My goodness, she said that's not Jingle Bell, girl. You better think about this. You got it, folks. Look, folks, they can for you. They can. Nicole Walker said, "'Tis the season to be jolly." It's called Dr. Halls, but right song. Dr. Halls, it is. So they showed up for you. They were in support of you today. But when you said Jingle Bells, everybody was a bit worried, Sherry.
I got side eye.
We were concerned.
Right.
Yeah, but they showed up. Folks, don't forget, next week we're going to be giving away a very nice prize. And that prize, for those who completed this survey, you were eligible to win a nice prize from us. So thank you to everyone who completed the survey. That was on our website. And if you did, make sure that you tune in next week to see if you're the lucky winner of a little something, something. So we'll only be on air Monday and Tuesday next week, okay? So this is your warning, Monday and Tuesday next week. All right. So,
you got messages like, what happened to you today? It's
yeah. You know, folks, sometimes you got to take a break, and we want to give you a break. Karen Simmons, she says, Sherry, she was a little worried this morning. That Jingle Bells took us, didn't it? It took us. But let's wrap up today, Sherry, for any final thoughts?
Yeah, in regards to our first discussion, you know, there's a lot of things that could be a part of that in regards to should schools take, you know, a disciplinary action. I love everybody's comments on it. It gave me some food for thought. But I do think that the school is doing what is directed by the police, which is what they need to do. As far as the initiatives, I say, you know, go out and support St. George's, Somerset and Court Street and those areas, and, you know, involve yourself in that, purchase something and win something. It's a great initiative.
Yeah. Just want to go back to a comment earlier from Renee Sherilyn Simmons we didn't get to. Said that will come after the fact. Once it has been investigated by the police, then the school should implement their penalty. So basically, allow the process to take place before the school acts, I think is what she's saying would be most fair. I don't necessarily disagree, but some things, you know, you look at the Zach Stacy, I think his name is, who was caught on camera brutally, you know, abusing his child's mother. Do you want to wait to the process, or do you feel like she should be protected while the process plays out based on what your eyes saw? So it's interesting, but I feel like there's no right answer to this, but I will just reiterate what I said earlier. I think this is a teachable moment. We need to take these moments to help young people understand why this is wrong. Not because it's on video or camera, but because of the act that was committed on video and camera, whether it was there or not. As far as the gentlemen today, both Donte and Dennis, thanks again to them and the BEDC. I get why the EE zones are necessary. And my hope is that, you know, people get out and support. And as Sheikah Rana says, wait, I can shop from overseas. Well, that's the way I heard it, Sheikah. So be a good time. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and make sure that you are hitting the notifications bell, because we are going to be doing some things in the new year. You just want to stay following us on Instagram. If you have Twitter, follow us on Twitter. Make sure that you're staying connected. Sign up on our website to make sure that you stay in the know, because as things change, and we know a lot of people do Christmas giveaways. We're going to be rewarding you a lot come January. Let's just leave it like that. I got permission here. I got permission.
You see, good stuff.
Sharon, you got any daily inspiration for us?
I do. Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. And that's from Albert Einstein.
Keep going, folks. Keep going.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Mama Patterson. I don't see her today. Mama Hartman. Not a Hartman. I got to give a shout out to Outerbridge family, and of course Bella, who Sherry, you better not tell nobody, but Bella's around here somewhere. Good that she's been on her best behavior, folks. She has not been barking, so props to Bella. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House One Communications, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. And a big shout out to my wifey. I don't see her in the comments today, but hopefully she's awake. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you next tomorrow. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamel Hartman, my friends. Make it a great and safe day. We are out.